Long ago in a certain port town lived a prosperous merchant. On his deathbed he called his only son and said, "Carry on the family business as well as you can. Visit new ports and towns, but never go to Chanchak, the island of Rougues." After the merchant's death his son continued in the business. Once every 2 years he went out for trading with distant lands, but he avoided sailing for the island of Chanchak. However, in the long run curiosity got the better of him. 6 years after his father's death he visited Chanchak with 4 boats. His boats touched the shore at night. In the morning, while enjoying a stroll along the shore, he shot an arrow at a stork, killing it. "What did you do, you stranger? How could you kill my father?" A fisherman rushed upon him shouting. "Your father?" merchant screamed, "but I have killed only a stork," said the surprised young man. "It was no ordinary stork but my father's soul reincarnated as a stork. It used to help me catch fish. Pay me compensation," demanded the fisherman. "What do you expect as compensation? All your wealth won't be enough for that." "But I'll be kind to a stranger. Surrender one of your boats to me," said the fisherman. "How absurd! Get out!" shrieked the young man. "Very well, I'll appeal to our king." The fellow left the young merchant in a huff. The young man walked towards the bazaar. A lady stopped him and exclaimed, "So, I've got you at last. You see, when I was in your country, I fell short of money. Your father gave me 100 rupees when I pledged my right ear to him. Look here." The lady removed a part of the hood she wore. Her right ear was missing. "If you cannot return my ear, I must demand one of your boats in lieu of it," said the lady. The young man, feeling disgusted and perplexed, had walked a furlong more when another lady confronted him with an unexpected claim. "Look here, son, your father married me upon one of his visits to this island. Now it is your responsibility to maintain me. Give me 50,000 rupees or one of your boats," she said coolly. "Shut up, my father never married you," shouted the young man. "Don't shout at me. Let our king decide the case." The lady headed towards the royal palace. "Young man, why don't you have a shave?" asked a barber. "How much would you charge for it? Just give enough for me to go away happy," said the barber. The young man had a shave and offered a rupee to the barber. "How do you expect this much to make me happy?" asked the barber. The young merchant was ready to give him up to 5 rupees. But the barber declared that nothing less than a full boat would satisfy him. They were arguing when the king's messenger arrived on the scene and summoned the young man to the palace. The fisherman, the 2 ladies and the barber submitted their grievances to the king and each demanded a boat. "You all seem justified in your claims," said the king. Just then the king's young son entered the court. The young merchant wore a charming necklace studded with jewels. The little prince looked at it again and again. The merchant took it out and threw it round the prince's neck. The king smiled and everyone present applauded. "We are all so happy," said some of them. "You wished to go happy. Does this event not make you happy?" the young merchant asked the barber. The barber had to admit that he was happy. "Since you are happy, you need not have a boat," the king said and waved his hand signaling the barber to leave the court at once. The merchant looked at the first lady and said, "In my father's storeroom there lie hundreds of ears pledged by different borrowers. It will be difficult for me to locate yours unless you let me cut away your remaining ear. By pairing with it, I'll find out your ear and I'll restore both to you." "That is quite reasonable," said the king. Never mind my ear, said the lady, and she left the court in a hurry. And so, as far as you're concerned, said the young merchant, turning to the second lady, you are a sinner for continuing to live after my father's death. In my country, the wives voluntarily die as soon as their husbands die. I must arrange for a pyre and see to it that you enter it. Without a word, the lady sneaked away. Now, you fisherman, your father the stork gobbled up a fish that was the reincarnation of my father's soul and was guiding my boats. That is why I killed the stork. You ought to regret your father's conduct, said the merchant. Right. The king nodded. The fisherman left the court after saluting the king. The merchant thanked the king and sailed away as soon as possible. How right my father was in warning me against conning here, he told his crew and friends. This story was published in March 1983 Chandamama monthly publication. If you want to hear more stories, please subscribe the channel.